So in this video, we are going to look at the MVT architecture of Django applications. This is request response cycle. The client, which is your user, sends a request to your Django application. A request contains the information like what user is trying to access, who the user is, and also the data if user is sending any kind of data to your app. Your Django application takes the request, processes it, and gives back a response. Now, this is the high-level diagram of Django application. The client sends a request. URLconf is URL configuration. It has a list of URL and the appropriate view function that has to be executed for that particular URL. The request is received. Based on the URL, it is forwarded to the right view function. The view contains the logic of the application. It performs the logic. It might fetch some data from the model, then it takes the template and data and renders it into final HTML. The final HTML is then sent back to the client as the response. URLconf. This is URL configuration. It is a mechanism in Django that maps URLs to the view. This is how you create a path in Django. You pass it three values. The first is the URL. Second is the function to be invoked if a user accesses this URL. Finally, an optional name for this path. Model. It represents the data structure and defines data fields in the database table. It uses Django ORM. Model also represents the abstraction that interacts with the database. Instead of writing raw SQL, you will use Python to access data from the database. Django handles the SQL and all the sanitation work that you need to do before sending a query. In this way, it prevents SQL injections. In this code snippet, we can see a book class which is inheriting from models.model class. And we have two fields in this class, title, author, both of type char field with the specified max length. With this code, a book table will be created in the database. It will have three columns, ID, title, and the author. The ID is automatically created for each model. Next is views. It handles the logic for processing request and returning response. Views interact with the model and the templates. This code snippet shows you a sample view function, book list, that takes in the request and it fetches all the books from the database. Here, render is a function. It takes in your template, it takes in the data and returns the final HTML response. That response is returned by this view function. Template. It handles the presentation layer. It renders dynamic content using Django's templating language. You can see here it's a snippet of Django template. First one is the h1 tag and it shows book list. Second is unordered list and this part of the code contains a for loop and it is really similar to the Python for loop. For book in books, this books variable is passed from the view function to the template. And we are looping through all the books in this variable and printing out its title, then this word by, and finally printing the author of the book. And here the loop ends. This is all about the MVT architecture. I'll see you in the next one.